Tariq and Sasna, could you download the chapter that I indicated?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So I'm referring to the same material today. What you're going to do today is actually to move from just an English lesson to a sort of a CLIL lesson. CLIL lesson in the sense content and language integrated learning lesson, in which what we are going to try is, as you're doing in university, you are given a reading material and you are given a reading time. I want you to try out the reading strategies that we learned, and then we are going to apply them and make a summary of what we learned from the particular text given. Sasna, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Did you get the material downloaded?
Yes, sir. I already downloaded.
Okay, perfect. So this is actually from Stanford text, University of Stanford, United States of America. This book is written by, Professor Stephen Hurd. And what the title of the book is, Write Like a Scientist. So it's a book written to guide scientists how to write, right? So from which I have taken the chapter 17, which is about paragraphs. I'm giving you silently just a minute to read what you can see on top. There are 2 paragraphs, right? Read it and be ready before I start my session. Hope you are done with, right? Now, both of you have to tell me exactly what this opening paragraph says.
The author gives an introduction to the paragraph and how it is structured.
Sasna, what you understood there?
Paragraph. And after that, he explained what he introduced the other chapters. His major focus is how you can use paragraph structure to make the complex material readers reader to clearly understand.
So you see, paragraph is going to be a really critical place where you actually organize or rather layer your information to your reader. So I'm not going to read that half with you, but I'm simply coming to this particular paragraph. Try and read with me, right? Here we are. A paragraph is a unit of logical organization best thought of its introducing and treating a single idea. What is the unique nature of a paragraph here? You see, I read just one sentence. Sasna, මොකද්ද පුතේ මේ කියන idea එක? I'm just referring to the first.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Yes, Sasna, go ahead.
I didn't get the question. So can you repeat it again?
You are not really audible, but it's all right. You told something. Tariq, what did you understand by this highlighted single unit?
Paragraph introduces a single idea.
Well, I love that idea. You see, single idea. One paragraph simply is all about a single idea. Now, if you talk about a whole text, which has nearly 5 paragraphs, what does it mean? That the entire essay gives you 5 different ideas. Why? Each paragraph treats a single idea. If it is 5 paragraph essay, there must be surely 5 ideas presented, right? Okay. It is not the case. Now, when you talk about a paragraph, the very significant point of it is, now, when you're dealing with that particular single idea within that paragraph, we are not inviting anything else, right? We'll see this in a practical essay approach towards the latter of this session, but the very idea is clear. A paragraph equals to one single idea. A paragraph equals an idea. 2 paragraphs equal then 2 ideas. So you can simply fill the formula. Okay, I'm reading with you. Thus, each paragraph break marks the appearance of a new idea in your argument, right? In this chapter's examples, I emphasize paragraph breaks by introducing, don't worry about it. What constitutes a new idea meriting a new paragraph can be subtle though. A paragraph may introduce an idea that is entirely new, or it may take a perspective on something already under discussion. For instance, shifting from advantages to disadvantages of a procedure, from evidence supporting hypothesis to opposing it. So it may mark movement through a sequence of related ideas. Quite simple. When you talk about 2 ideas, it does not always mean that, it is jumping. When you jump from one paragraph to another, it is not the case that always that you are jumping from the first idea to a brand new idea. It could be perhaps a new idea emerging from the first. Say, for example, if you deal with a particular method and its advantages and disadvantages, so you might take the first method, first approach, and you'll deal with, in the first paragraph, the advantages, and in the second paragraph you'll jump into the disadvantages. In the third paragraph you might jump into a brand new second idea or second framework. Are you getting me? Did you get the idea I spoke, Puta?
Yes, sir.
Sasna, I think your case is true, right? Well,
Yes, sir.
perfect. Now, what is the next thing? Occasionally, you might even engineer an extra idea, shift deliberately, so that you can give your reader a paragraph break as a breather during what would otherwise be an overlong passage. Now, this is like in your reading process, this is like a breathing space given to your reader. And at the same time, this is like a thinking. Your brain is given a bit of a break because one particular idea is made clear in a particular paragraph. And moving to the next paragraph means we are jumping either to a new paragraph or we are extending the idea given in this paragraph to a next or another direction, right? Now, this is typically the nature of paragraphs in an essay. Now, just look at 3 properties of good paragraphs. I want first Tariq to read yourself while Sasna also reads herself the first paragraph and give me in one sentence what is the main idea of this paragraph. And then Sasna will be doing the same with the second paragraph. I'm sure you are clear about the task, right? Go ahead, do. And when you're ready, switch on your mic.
First, should I read it aloud?
No, you don't need to read it aloud, Tariq. You read it by yourself and tell me the main idea you grasp from it.
The author explains how unified and distinct paragraphs differ from each other and uh, gives information different in different ways.
Well, can you, okay. So the main idea is how a unique, distinct paragraph could give what? Unified, coherent, and what is the third thing? Distinct nature of a paragraph. Okay. Sasna?
Here they mention making paragraph unified mean how to clearly declare the paragraph central idea.
Well, yes. Perfect. So, yes, you grasp something, but let me explain the same to make it much more clearer, right? So I'm reading the first paragraph. Good paragraphs have three important properties. They are unified, coherent, and distinct. Now see, this is an example of how to write a good paragraph. How Tariq and Sasna? Now, when you're jumping into a new idea, now in this essay, he's jumping into a brand new idea. What is a brand new idea? Good paragraphs have three important properties. They are unified, coherent, and distinct. So the very idea that author wants to communicate is directly stated clearly. And we call this very place, if you could remember, the topic sentence. Can you remember? We discussed this thing. Can you remember topic sentence? We talk about two
Yes, sir.
power positions in a paragraph. The first thing is topic sentence. What happens in a topic sentence, Sasna, as you understood now?
Normally, unified paragraphs, we have to write 2 or 3 topic sentences. We can't write more than that.
Well, the key idea is, the main idea is directly stated in a simple, precise, direct way. And that introduces one thing. What is? The whole paragraph is going to be dealt around this particular idea. So now what is highlighted here is quite simple, but this particular paragraph tells good paragraphs have three important properties. So introducing that three-dimensional properties is the purpose of this paragraph, and that is told in the very first sentence. Let me read and convince you. All sentences in a unified paragraph deal with the same idea. Now, what about, what does it tell? Now, it jumps from introducing three features. Now, it is going on elaborating or rather defining the three features. So now he describes what is a unified paragraph, right? All sentences in a unified paragraph deals with the same idea. So what is the meaning of unified? You can grasp it from the very idea given here itself.
All the paragraph contains same idea.
Yes, unified means all the other sentences coming with and following that topic sentence, they deal with the same idea. They deal with the same idea. So within a paragraph, when you're writing, you describe the same idea introduced in the topic sentence, and the very idea of being unified means it is developed around the same idea. It does not go beyond the idea, the main idea presented in the topic sentence. I wish you got me, right? Okay, let's move on. A coherent paragraph has sentences that work together effectively to develop its idea. Now, I want you to take the next point. What is it? Coherent. What do you mean by coherent? A coherent paragraph, what happens, Tariq?
All the sentences in a coherent paragraph presents an idea collectively.
Yes, very good. So it's simply about they work together, which means, they are in different sentences, starting from a capital letter and ending with the punctuation mark. But they are working to develop one idea presented in the topic sentence. And the very reason here is coherent means, they are developing a main idea. When an idea is developed, keep in mind that you have to first define the idea and then give examples and then talk about how that idea is used in the practical context. Now, you see, defining is a simple level, giving the meaning, and then exemplifying is the next level. So what we are doing by defining, by giving examples, and by telling where it is practiced and all that, what we are doing, we are developing the idea from simple to complex, or rather simple to not so simple content of the same idea. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
So coherent means they are effectively, collectively develop the same idea. So you are getting the things clearly. Unified means it's about one idea, right? All sentences are talking about the same idea. And coherent means they are collectively connected, perhaps from simpler to complex, right? Or perhaps from definition to examples and application. In whatever way, they are collectively, effectively developing the idea presented in the topic sentence. Well, what is a distinct means? I'm reading. Distinct paragraph is self-contained, differs in topic from paragraphs preceding and following. Now, this is the very important thing. Now, when a paragraph is considered, a paragraph has not just one sentence. It has several sentences. Now, remember, when several sentences come together to describe one idea, right, they are coherently developing the same idea from simple to complex. That is the second idea. But distinct means one sentence, when you take it alone, is what? One sentence itself self-contained, and it is different from other paragraph, I'm reading. A distinct paragraph is self-contained, differs in topic from paragraphs preceding and following. It is not talking about anything in the previous paragraph or in the forthcoming paragraph. So they are distinctly, now say for example, when you take introduction and conclusion, most of the things that you take in introduction typically comes to a conclusion in your concluding paragraph. But how to make these two distinct is, you do not copy and paste from introduction to the conclusion. If you copy and paste, what lacks there? These sentences do not become, these paragraphs do not become distinct. Why? Why? They sense that it appears earlier in introductory sentence or paragraph, so it is not distinct. So distinct means you do not write the same idea going beyond the paragraph. Let's go ahead and try and understand this. It means it's self-contained, and yeah. Let's look at what is making paragraphs unified. I'm reading. If your paragraph is to be unified around a single idea, you need to know and tell your reader what that idea is. කොහොමද පුතේ දැන් ඔයාගේ paragraph එක unified කරන්නේ? හරි සරලයි. කොහොමද කාරණේ? If it is about one single idea, tell the idea first. That is what you do in the topic sentence, right? Clearly declaring the paragraph's central idea is the job, its topic sentence, right? Actually, a paragraph may have topic sentences. Sometimes you may have 2 or 3, right? As you read here, just take a mental S into topic sentences, right? Which means, if you do not find the idea in one sentence, just jump to the next sentence, then you'll get the whole idea. Well, I want you to follow me with the third paragraph. In scientific writing, the topic sentence is nearly always the first in the paragraph. This is one of a paragraph's two power positions where readers expect to find important information. The other is its last sentence, a good place where a succinct statement of the paragraph's take-home message. When you structure a paragraph this way, you announce your destination right up front, bringing the reader along for a smooth ride to the expected finish. Now remember, in a paragraph itself, as we discussed earlier, is going to be what? Distinct. To make it distinct, you have to start with idea introduction in the topic sentence first, and then you develop it unifiedly, developing the same idea throughout the paragraph, but you have to bring the paragraph into a conclusion. How? Bringing another sentence towards end, summing up what we did there. So this topic sentence and the concluding sentence are really, really important. And to understand this idea further, I'm going to now introduce you to a little video. Get ready to watch it. While you are viewing it, make sure that you take down notes and tell me at the end of the day what it is all about. Take notes, because this time we are not only listening but also note taking. Those are parts of your university role. Yes. Let me say yes. We are sharing this and we are sharing sound as well. Do you see my thing on your screen? Paragraph architecture. Do you see it there? Is it clear, Buddha, on your screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now get ready. This is a 9-minute long summary of this particular paragraph, or rather this particular text that we are discussing. I want you to follow the lesson, take notes, and tell me at the end of the day what you learned from this video. Are you ready? Are you ready, my? Yes. Sasna, I wish you are ready, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
We are going ahead. Yes.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here. Today we're tackling something that affects literally every single one of us who deals with complex technical information. We are talking about the architecture of scientific paragraphs. Now, I want you to think about drafting a dense scientific paper kind of like engineering a building. You wouldn't just, dump a massive pile of bricks on a vacant lot and expect it to magically hold up a roof. You need a blueprint. You need real structure. Because when we're dealing with inherently dense material, the stakes for how we structure our writing are incredibly high. So today, we're going to sketch out those blueprints together, and we'll look at exactly how to engineer text that stands strong.
So, have you ever been reading a super dense academic paper and suddenly you have to stop, reread a section like 3 times, and you're just left wondering how on earth you ended up on a completely different topic? The source text we're analyzing today describes that exact feeling so perfectly. It says the bad structure causes a kind of mental whiplash. It leaves the reader totally lost, wondering if they missed a connection or just misunderstood the entire premise. Our goal with this explainer today is to cure that mental whiplash completely. We want to make your complex material as effortlessly clear to the reader as possible.
All right, let's start right at the beginning with the absolute basic building block of our blueprint, the paragraph. By definition, a paragraph is just a unit of logical organization introducing and treating a single idea. That's it. Every single time you see a paragraph break, that little indentation or a line space, it's actually a visual signal to your reader. It announces the appearance of a brand new idea, or at the very least, a totally new perspective on something you've already been talking about. It's basically a clear marker in the journey of your overall argument.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the roadmap for our explainer today. We're going to start with the anatomy of scientific paragraphs. Then we'll hit the 3 critical pillars: unity,
coherence, and distinctness. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with building the bigger picture. Starting off with Section 1, Anatomy of Scientific Paragraphs, and specifically, we're looking at the power positions. Now, as readers, we inherently look to specific places in a text for the most important information. We definitely don't give every sentence equal weight. The human brain naturally pays the absolute most attention to the first sentence and the last sentence of a paragraph. Those are your power positions. The first sentence gives you the roadmap, and the last sentence delivers that punchy take-home message. That first power position is exactly where we place the topic sentence. In scientific writing, your topic sentence should almost always be the very first sentence. It announces the destination right up front. The key thing to remember here is that it declares the central idea, but it doesn't need to over-explain every single tiny detail right out of the gate. The science is usually way too complex for that anyway. Instead, it just sets the route. It tells the reader, hey, here's exactly where we are going, which prevents any nasty surprises and guarantees a much smoother ride to the finish line. Let's move on to our first major pillar, Section 2, Unity. One core idea. Unity is basically the foundation of our building, and it dictates one very strict rule. Absolutely every sentence in a paragraph must relate back to the core idea declared in that topic sentence. No exceptions, no wandering off into the weeds. This slide brilliantly illustrates what happens when unity breaks down. Let's do a little live editing here together. On the left side, we have this paragraph about protostar accretion. The topic sentence promises to discuss two main forces, gravity and radiation pressure. But if you look halfway down that left column, suddenly there's this random sentence stating that electromagnetic forces drive stellar winds. Wait, what? A third force? And then, right at the very end, it starts talking about heavy elements. If you're reading this, you are definitely getting that mental whiplash we talked about. You start wondering, wait, did I misunderstand the topic? Now, look over at the right side. We've deleted those jarring, stray sentences about stellar winds and heavy elements. And what's left is a structurally sound, highly unified paragraph. Every single sentence on the right directly develops the relationship between gravity and radiation pressure. It passes the unity test with flying colors. All right, so how does this build into our second pillar, Section 3, Coherence, in creating logical flow? If unity is the foundation, coherence is the framing of our building. Once you have unified sentences that all belong to the same idea, coherence is about how those sentences interlock perfectly to actually support the reader's understanding. They have to be presented in a logical, step-by-step order. What's really fascinating about this slide is that standard organizational schemes aren't just arbitrary writing rules made up by grammar nerds. They literally match how human beings naturally organize their own thinking. If you use a scheme like spatial or temporal, let's say describing an experiment from beginning to end, you save the reader massive amounts of mental energy. They don't have to scramble to figure out how to organize the data in their heads because, well, you've already done the framing for them. Whether you're moving from general to specific in an introduction or simple to complex when explaining a new model, using a recognizable scheme makes the science immediately accessible. Another completely crucial part of coherence is parallel construction. Take a look at this enzyme assay example. Do you notice the pattern here? We purified, we added, we incubated, we assayed. It uses the exact same sentence structure, the exact same tense, and the exact same voice for every single step. Now, inexperienced writers sometimes think they need to constantly mix up their sentence structure just to sound interesting. Actually, scratch that. In technical writing, too much variety really disrupts coherence. By using this parallel construction, your reader isn't forced to stop and decode brand new grammar with every sentence. They just effortlessly absorb the scientific procedure. Coherence also relies heavily on transitional expressions. Think of these as the glue holding our frame together. Take a look at the left side here, the 1998 lava paragraph. It really just lists facts. The lava was richer in metals. It was denser. Ejective volumes were similar. It feels incredibly choppy, right? Like a robot just reading out data points. You're forcing the reader to guess how all these separate facts relate to each other. But now, look at the right side. By adding really simple relational devices like furthermore, despite these differences, and as a result, the entire text transforms. It flows so smoothly. The writer is doing the heavy lifting of connecting the ideas, creating a perfectly coherent logical flow. And that brings us to our third pillar, Section 4, distinctness, or self-contained thoughts. So think of distinctness as the exterior walls of our structure. A unified and coherent paragraph also has to be self-contained. Now, this doesn't mean it exists in a vacuum. It takes the reader onto a new track, for sure, but it's a new track on the exact same journey. It has to stand completely alone while still pushing the larger argument forward. Distinctness is often compromised by what the source text calls link failures. Let's just quickly fire off these three common pitfalls. First up, superfluous paragraph breaks. This is when a writer thinks a paragraph is just looking a bit too long visually, so they just hit enter without actually shifting to a new topic. Second, over-strong dependencies, which we'll look at in just a second. And third, redundant paragraphs, basically repeating the exact same topic in multiple places, which just creates text bloat and really confuses the reader. So the absolutely crucial point here is how to avoid that second pitfall, over-strong dependencies. This happens when you start a new paragraph with a phrase like, despite this, or because of that. The reader starts the new paragraph, but they're entirely dependent on the previous one to remember what this or that even means. You fix this easily by naming both halves of the linkage. Don't just start with despite this. Instead say, despite the difference in the replicate experiments. Just briefly repeat the antecedent. It creates this solid bridge between paragraphs without ever compromising the distinct, self-contained nature of the new one. Finally, Section 5, building the bigger picture and assembling our sections. Let's zoom out for a second. We've just engineered these perfect, unified, coherent, distinct blocks of text. Now, how do we assemble them into larger sections of a manuscript? Well, all the rules we just discussed apply on a macro level too. One of the single most powerful tools in a science writer's toolkit is consistency in paragraph order. Think about it. If you present 3 hypotheses in your introduction in a specific order, say A, then B, then C, you should absolutely mirror that exact same paragraph order in your methods, your results, and your discussion sections. By doing this, you're taking full advantage of established reader expectations. You create a massive shortcut for their comprehension because they already know the rhythm and the structure of your argument. Which brings us to our final slide, and really the ultimate question you have to ask yourself. Are your paragraphs actually guiding your readers, or are they giving them mental whiplash? By mastering this architecture, by ensuring every single paragraph has unity, coherence, and distinctness, you stop forcing your readers to constantly decode your structure. Instead, you allow them